What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episode 5 of season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen, and we'll be going full spoilers ahead. So hopefully you've been keeping up with what's going on with the show, and you've watched this episode, and you're here to hear our impressions of the episode and share yours, of course. So we're going to be doing a real quick recap. I'm going to give it over to Chevy, though. I'm a little tired, so it might be a little easier just to have him go through what happened in this episode real fast, and then we will talk about it.
I will do my best not to ramble, so I apologize in advance if I do. So this is a year after the incident that happened at the end of episode 4, and we are now seeing where people have gone. Gojo is going through this long explanation of basically him refining and mastering his technique at this point. Less hand gestures, things are happening more instantly, and because of the reverse. On top of the reverse, he's basically recharging his batteries at all times, so he just can keep his power on indefinitely at this point.
They also talked about it would damage something in him, but he's like regenerating that.
So he's going through saying that he can just do things constantly, be on at all times, and they said they would fry his brain to be on all the time, and he said, "Well, no, because I can just do the healing technique," and so it's like having a fresh brain constantly. And so he's just basically self-recharging while just always being turned on at this point. So
it's like an infinite loop.
And his hand gestures don't have to be as dramatic now to do his abilities. He can just do them. He minimized his hand gestures. So aka he turned into God.
This is our 2 origin stories in this episode.
During this, I've forgotten his name. Geto. Yeah, he has had a year to basically experience going on missions on his own at this point, because Gojo is so strong that he's just doing them on his own. And the gal whose name I can't remember isn't at that level, so she can't really go with missions on him anyway. So he goes through kind of this tangent of saying that he just kills, absorbs, or exercise absorbs nonstop, and nothing ever changes. In fact, it seems to just be getting worse. And so he's just having some doubts on if what he's doing means anything. We get introduced to, I can't remember her name either, blonde gal who's also a special grade, but apparently it doesn't actually do anything. She just travels a lot. But she kind of plants this idea in his head based off her beliefs of not doing the jujutsu sorcerer thing that the high school basically promotes, but more of a, how do we get to the root of this problem and just stop it forever? And she proposes this idea of everyone could be a sorcerer, and then they're more control of their curse energy, and it doesn't leak out, and curses just stop existing. Or I can't remember the other one, but it's basically getting rid of curse energy to TLDR.
Yeah, they had talked about how if there was no non-curse users, there wouldn't be any curses.
Yeah, and the example she uses for getting rid of curse energy was the previous opponent, Toji, I think his name was.
Toji, yeah.
Because he was basically like the perfect human who got rid of curse energy and instead just had enhanced abilities through
superhuman
heavenly pact or whatever it's called. This kind of strikes a thought into Geto's mind, and he proposes a third idea, which is what if non-curse users just don't exist? And she confirms that would also solve it, but she does not have the strength to go through with something like that. She leaves, and he's left to his thoughts again. We're fast forwarding into a assignment he has where he goes to a village, and he's already solved the problem, but the people of the village, which I do believe is his home village, and his parents are there supposedly. Let me know if I mix that up. That's just the way I understood it.
That's what I thought too.
But they've put 2 little girls in a cage because they are curse users. Not that they know that. They're just witches, basically, to them. And they are insistent that they're the cause of the problem, even though he knows he already fixed the problem, and they won't listen to him. Upon seeing this, it kind of pushes him over the line in which he's going to make his decision. lets them know it's going to be okay by talking through a curse that only they can see because the rest of them are just normal humans. Asks them to go outside and then proceeds to burn and kill down the village and kill all the humans in the village, including his parents. And it was like over 100 people. Does not try to hide this fact, and basically the Jujutsu sorcerer like group, I'm not sure what their name is. Excuse me. Basically find him guilty of crime, and he's sentenced to be executed. Gojo, upon hearing this, can't believe it because it's been his closest friend, and they've been together forever. And all of a sudden, he just does this because in the last year they really haven't been together, and he probably hasn't been noticing it because he's been too focused on himself at this point. We get a scene in Shinjuku, I believe, and the girl whose name I can't remember, who's the third sorceress in this group, is just sitting, and Geto comes to basically say hi, and they talk a little bit. She, just checks with him, make sure he's serious about what he did and there's any chance of his innocence, and he just denies it and says, nope, I did it. Literally tells her he's going to wipe out humans who aren't sorcerers, and she calls Gojo. They don't fight or anything because they don't really hate each other. He doesn't hate sorcerers, and she's not strong enough to fight him, so she just is not even going to bother. Gojo shows up. They have some words, basically arguing ideals, and Geto kind of leaves on the point of because he's told it's impossible to do what he's opting to do, and he to Gojo, and Geto counters with, "You could do it with your power, so I just need to be you." And he leaves, and Gojo
needs to absorb his power.
Makes a motion to attack, but can't push himself to actually do it. He was questioned about it, and then he kind of tells the principal. Well, I don't think he's the principal yet, but the principal in the current age of them.
He's at least his sensei, right?
Yeah, I think he's just a teacher at this point. But he basically says, "Never mind, I know the answer." And then it goes to modern day, where oh no, I'm skipping a part. Fast forward a little bit. Gojo goes to Toji's kid, also
Megumi,
and
Megumi
tries to talk to him, but he's just kind of like, "Yeah, I don't really care about any of that. I just kind of care about this person here." And Gojo goes, "Well, if you want, when you want to talk about it, just come to me, basically." And then he wakes up, present day. He's being woken up by his 3 students, including Megumi, and that's the episode. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. It's pretty thorough.
Thoughts?
It was a good episode. It was a lot to take in, especially now that it's almost 3 a.m. and I'm just like trying to make sure I don't miss anything here. But it was interesting because this is the finale of the 5-episode arc. And in 4 of those episodes, I've been waiting to find out how Geto turns into the Geto that we learned about in the movie. And if you haven't seen the movie, I would recommend you watch it. I feel like it's crucial.
You have to.
Yeah, I feel like it's crucial to the story. I feel like you're missing a whole part of the story if you haven't watched that and you watched this. So yeah, I've been waiting for this to kind of get unveiled, and I feel like it's kind of rushed to do it in 1 episode, but I think they did it fine within the 1 episode, because we did spend some time with Geto, and we got a couple layers of the progression of him finally coming to this conclusion in a way that makes sense. I feel like we should have spent a couple episodes, at least 2 episodes, kind of seeing this seed planted, but the story makes sense. He was on his own for a while, left to his own devices, seeing things aren't really going the way he wants them to be going, and is trying to explore options on how to even. He even mentioned, he's losing comrades to this, and it's just getting worse and worse. So it's like, well, what do they even do? And then, like you said, seeing the 2 girls in the cage being abused was kind of the final straw. But I think the conversation between him and the blonde girl, was interesting because he kind of explored the thoughts of like how theoretically, how do you get rid of curses? It's like, well, you have to get rid of the source, which is non-curse users. And so
they can't control it; they're just leaking it constantly.
Yeah, exactly. So it always reminds me of Night Watch, because in Night Watch, people create curses
like the crow
on
scene.
themselves or on other people, and depending on whether people know they're a sorcerer or not, or have power, can magnify those curses and they can become problems. So it definitely reminds me a lot of that, which I think is really interesting. Anyway, yeah, so that was an interesting conversation. But yeah, it does feel a little rushed from that conversation to him just killing a whole village. But if we take the episode away and we just take the story as is, it makes sense that he would have gotten to that point. They just had to do that in one episode. And so, yeah, it was really interesting to watch him get there. It's also interesting, too, because in the movie and in this episode, and the 4 episodes that preceded really kind of lay out that Geto's not or wasn't a bad dude. They actually really try to make him likable in these 4 episodes. And so there's a lot they have to do with making him be somebody who's willing to do things that the average person, us, the viewer, are going to go, well, you can't just kill us, you can't kill people. You should protect them. But you get to understand from his perspective, it seems like it's a solution to fix the bigger problem. It's kind of a Thanos style situation. Definitely. Where this is his view on how you fix something that's eventually going to be good for everybody, but it's going to cost something great. And obviously it's a philosophical difference of opinion, because everyone else is still on the idea that they have power to protect people, and he's thinking that the people worth protecting are certain people, and the other people are the problem, possibly. As he starts referring to them as monkeys, he's not really looking at them as people worth protecting. They're animals.
Disassociation.
And so yeah, the arc works. It's interesting, and I am really interested to see what happens in the more current timeline, moving forward in the story, having all this information about Geto, which will make his actions and what he does moving forward. And I even would like to rewatch the first season now. We now have this established that there will be more weight to him as a character now. He's not just the sneaky guy in the shadows that he was in the first season. And I was just like, who the fuck is this guy? Why is he just like, I'm sneaking around and plotting? Okay, cool. Well, now we know. And because we got to start off with him as a good guy, moving over into this realm of, disagreement on how to take care of things, it makes him a more interesting character. And for a villain to be good, they have to be understood. You gotta get why the fuck they're doing what they're doing, and we do now. So I'm excited for the overall JJK story to move forward now that we have motivation, and this episode was able to do that. It also, conveyed that there's tension between him and Gojo because they were friends, and as far as Gojo probably thought they were friends until he committed something that's so egregious that it's not something you can look past, but he doesn't have it in him to take care of it as of this episode. So it's expected, but makes sense, because it'd be hard to just ask somebody to just go, hey, your friend did something bad, go fucking take him out, apprehend them or whatever. I thought it was interesting too when the girl found him and she was just on the phone like, oh, hey, he's here. And then, they say something on the phone and she's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to get killed. So it's like, somebody would probably ask her like, can you take him out? And she's like, fuck no, dude. He'll kill me. Yeah. I'm not even going to try. Just get Gojo over here. So yeah, overall it was a good episode. It was a good end point for this small arc. And just like the movie, which is important because the first season, if you watched the reviews of that, I liked it. I didn't love it. I think the movie and this are adding the ingredients I need personally to appreciate this show more. this story more. And so
I think it has a lot more weight.
It's crucial. Like these elements I needed, and so I have them. I think like the show more. And like I said, I'd like to watch the first season again, possibly knowing what I know now, to see if it changes my opinion on it. Because yeah, it was cool, but didn't love it. So, and now I feel like whatever we do with the story moving forward, I'm gonna like it more, just because I get more what's going on and people's ambitions. And there's more to Gojo than just being God, essentially. Even though he still is that, there's some emotional weight on him that makes him not the all-knowing, all-fixing character that he seemed to be in the first season. So, but that was from the perspective of oh God, what's his fucking name? Main character. Yuji?
I don't know. It's been I would say it's been years at this point. I don't know his name anymore.
Yeah. That the first season's through Yuji's perspective, so the guy who's going to be teaching him is this all powerful fucking dude, and he is to everybody, but
and the students, because there's that period of time where he's kind of out of commission.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So, and with the first season and everything, you got to unravel the world and start introducing characters, the rules of the world, what the fuck's going on in the world, introduce a story and an arc and villains and stuff like that. Now that we've done that in the first season, now we're jumping back before that season and exploring things that are gonna have ramifications later. It's a really interesting way they're handling the story, and so I at the very least am really intrigued by that. So anyway, I like the episode.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I think between this what do they call it again? Hidden something arc?
Hidden something in premature death.
How have I forgotten that already?
I don't know.
Anyways.
It's fucking late.
This arc and the movie definitely add more of a foundation to this world, which I think is really nice. I also know... I don't know any plot points, fortunately, but I do know that the manga readers really are hyping up the Shibuya incident, which is what we're going to get into, unfortunately, on the 31st, which sucks. We've got a lot of dead time to wait, but so yeah, I'm looking forward to that, though I get worried when things get overly hyped, because an example of that would be, and I liked the show, you can check out our discussion on it right here on this channel, feel free, but Hell's Paradise. It's a good show. I like it, but did it live up to the hype I was given by the people who read the manga? Not at all. I did enjoy it, and I plan on watching more of it, but that was really talked up as well. So
yeah, I remember when we first started it, I was hearing like great things about it, and then by the time we watched, I'm like, yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know where the fuck that came from.
Yeah, so not that I think JJK is going to be in the same boat, just because there's just too many people who have read it at this point. It is one of the most successful mangas in the world, so
that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
crazy.
positive. There's been times where it's outpaced One Piece, so obviously it's more of a short term. One Piece has got years and years and years of sales, so it's kind of rough. But currently, I'm pretty sure it outsells. So,
is it still going?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure on that.
I've been in bookstores or like manga stores and shit, and seen just a lot of I don't know what the fuck they call them, but issues of it, and I always have to stay away from them because I'm like, I don't want spoilers. But it seems like there's a lot. So
yeah, well, I don't know what their adaptation rate is versus episodes. Like, as an example, the remake of Bleach right now is like 5 chapters per episode, which is pretty fast paced. 1 to 2 is a little more common. So, but anyways, yeah, I enjoyed it. It is nice getting exactly the moments that kind of like pushed him over that edge, because he was just a normal noble sorcerer for a while until his beliefs got challenged when he saw basically at the point where what was her name again? Like
Rico.
Rico. When she got shot, it kind of like was the beginning of like, what's the point of all this for him? Mm-hmm. So, and then it just kind of decayed and poisoned his mind. So, cool. Little, like you said, it did feel a little rushed, but I do think it was just enough. I would have liked more, but I think I'm not like disappointed either. So, looking forward to the next story at this point.
Yeah. And then, like you said, it's at the end of the month.
Unless I'm mistaken, but we've been told by someone we know, and then I'm pretty positive I read it on, I think it was JJK's official Twitter. So
it's not even that big of a wait, but it's interesting that they like released like a 5-episode arc and then take a quick break and then continue.
I say breaks for seasonal anime is not a common thing, so I'm a little confused by that, but whatever.
If it comes out, it's good. I won't care. So
true.
But yeah, cool episode, and I'm definitely ready to see where the story's going to go from here, because there's a lot of loose threads from the first season, and then a lot of things that they've added with this stuff. So really curious to see how it all comes together.
Should we rate the arc, or do you want to do the season as a whole? Okay.
Yeah, we can grade this as an arc. Okay. I'll let you go first.
Okay, I'm going to give it a solid A-. It did a good job. There was some weird pacing stuff here and there, but it's really just trying to get us to the next story, I feel. So yeah, pacing I think could have been a little bit slower, but the story was conveyed. I'm not confused, though. I had to stop and think a couple of times, and I had to pause this episode because they just kind of threw a newspaper at us and it was gone. And I was like, whoa, I can't read that fast.
We literally had to pause it and read it. It was like so fucking quick.
Yeah. But other than that, yeah, I like the depth we've been given to characters that now will be more important going forward.
Yeah. I'm really tottering between B+ and A-. That's where I'm kind of stuck at, because I do think some of the stuff felt kind of slow. The action sequences are great, and I think the story was good for sure. The way it's handled in 5 episodes is really interesting. So I don't really think there's anything bad about it. So I guess I'll go with a light A- as well, because it's good. I mean, everything, the quality is great, the story's good. There's just some pacing stuff there in 5 episodes that felt like we're spending a lot of time on this and not a lot of time on that. But at the end of the day, it was effective. I got the story, and it did add to everything. And oddly enough, I think I liked this 5-episode arc more than the first season as a whole, even though the first season had a bunch of great stuff in it. There's a lot to take in one season without any context. So I think I'm liking deep diving on the context more. So I'm excited to see where this all goes. So yeah, light A-. It was good. It was also nice to see Mappa work on something that seemed like they gave a fuck more about it than Hell's Paradise, because Hell's Paradise was fine, but it didn't have the Mappa fucking seal of approval in terms of high quality animation like this did. So definitely like what they do and like when they do it. Yeah, so 2 A-, light A- and A-. Let us know in the comments what you think of this episode and what happened in it. What were the biggest highlights for you? What do you think about Geto's descent into his new philosophical point of view? And how do you think they handled it in this one episode? Are you kind of on the same page of like maybe they could have done more than one episode, or do you think it was fine this way? And are you excited for the next part of this season? And where do you hope things are going? Unless you've read the manga, please no spoilers. We have not read it, and we are not reading it, so we want to go in as blind as possible. Thank you. And yeah, let me know everything you think about in the comments below when it comes to JJK Season 2 and this 5-episode arc. But I've been Seth, this has been Chevy. Till the next episode where we review the next thing, likely anime, but I need to get some movie reviews in. I've seen a couple movies I haven't reviewed for some reason. We'll talk to you guys later.